Hey there, anybody can hear me? Hear me loud and clear? So I'm just here messing with this Revo slot. I've done a few of them already, and this is the last one that I need to do. And make sure I have the chat box up. But I'm just here going to tune this. And I haven't tuned one of these Mercedes before. This is my first Mercedes. The ones that I have tuned are McLarens, Corvettes, Porsches, Datsuns, the Group 2 cars. So this one I've never really encountered before. And real nice looking car. I mean, you see me got the Mercedes emblem on the front of it, which I didn't really notice. Which I don't know how long it'll last, but that's pretty cool. But again, it's just something that I thought was really cool. This is what I love about Revo Slot. It's really just an awesome brand, and it's something that I've always, liked to do, to buy and just have fun with. The one thing I do also for sure is I true these front tires, because they're really kind of lumpy, and they're really easy to true because they are hard tires. So if you have that Mid-America truer, it only takes you like 5 minutes to do each one of these, and make sure you measure them so they're the same diameter, and that's it. What's up, John Tucci? I'm just here messing around with this. I figured I'd just do a quick live on kind of how I do a few things here and there. But first things I do is on this particular model, this right here has the indentations, but it doesn't have, oh yeah, it does have it here. On some cars they don't have it, it'll be in here, but this one does have it. Like I said, I've never tuned one of these cars before. This is going to be the first time. I get my glasses on, so this lets you split the body. Now it's being stubborn because the wheel is caught here. This is really a tight fit and not really doing what I think it should do, but again, I never experienced these cars before. There it goes. And they just got to be careful because they get caught right here, it looks like. So, here you go. Here's a car. The 30 short tires I do not use for my track. They do not like them. They end up getting torn up, and they just turn to crap. So, just so you guys know, if anybody needs any 30 short tires, those are all the 30 short tires that I take off, and I use G25. Now on this one I'm going to use the extra wide one. Let me get them right here. Yeah, so they're these ones, which are the last pair. These are, Revo Slot makes some good tires obviously too. So this is the RS202WG. So these are 20 by 11.5. And I think they'll be fine, just a little extra wide. If they're not the same size as this, I don't know. But I generally change the tires because I hate 30 short tires on my track, where my track hates them, because they end up just tearing up, and they just don't, I don't think they stick as well as the G25s do. But it's just a preference. If your track, or if your track likes them and you have no problems with them, then I would do that. Hello, Doug from Magnetic Racing. How you doing? I'm just here fiddling with just tuning a car. And like I said, I've tuned several of these cars to my preference. So what I use for here on the little nuts, I use this Loctite. So this is that purple lock thread you get from Amazon, and it's low strength. So if you put some on there, it gives you can still manipulate the screw, the amount of travel you want from the pan to the chassis if you need to. I used to use super glue, but with super glue, man, they're really hard to turn, and then you have to be really careful you don't tear these up, which I got a lot of extra Revo Slot parts, which I ordered a huge order from Pendle Slot, because they carry what I want, and I have stuff in stock. A good example of that is that yesterday I was tuning a BMW with the 24 tooth gear, and then this right here took a crap, and one of these teeth went south, and you can hear the car when it runs. It's these teeth right here. I don't know if you can see them. They this camera, there you go, it's kind of trying to focus on it. It just sounded terrible. Really, when you listen to the sound of these cars, they shouldn't, I know they're noisy, but they shouldn't sound like meat grinders. And this was a problem with that BMW, and I ended up changing the gear because I'm glad I get spares for that reason. Because, for example, I have a Scale Auto one that I haven't really messed with because the pinion gear cracked in like 2 laps, which that's how it is. You know, I don't complain about that. Just get in the gear and replace it. But I always like to keep parts, especially of a certain brand that I like. So I got a lot of parts in stock. So I ended up replacing this because that's junk, and took care of the problem. So, but going back to this, this is where where I start out with take the body, of course, check if everything's tight. You know, your gear mesh. I generally always change the guide to the slot invasion guide myself. How you doing, Pistol Pete? Hope everything's good. Chris, how you doing? I'm just here fiddling around. So I'll take the stock guide out because it's not a deep wood guide, it's a shallow guide, which is good for, you know, scale electric track and all that. And the other brands, I don't have Carrera anymore. I used to, and I would use the deep guide anyway. And all you do is just pull these off, which generally they pull off. Sometimes they pull off easy, sometimes they don't. And just yank them out. I'm gonna replace that. And they really did a good job putting those in. Usually they pull right out. If I have a little problem, then I will get my real tiny an echo. Okay, hold on. Shouldn't be an echo unless it's my room. I have no other mic on, so I don't know what the echo's from, Chris. Can't tell you. There's only one mic active. Unless, hold on a second. Let me check something real quick because I know what it might be. It might be the webcam. Let's take a look at it, what it is. I think I'll shut it up. 1 second. No. No. Okay. One sec here. Give me a sec here. Sorry about the echo. Alright, yeah, I know what it is. I'm sorry. It was hiding. Okay, there we go. It was this cam right here that I have facing down. It's a webcam. That should be better. Thank you for telling me that, Chris. Appreciate it. Slockar dude, how you doing, man? What's up, Nico? So usually we'll push this out. And since the other one won't yank out, I'll try and pry it out from here. My nail. I'll get a flat screwdriver. Just try and pry it out. Man, they usually don't put these on like that. This is amazing how strong this is on. Wow. You gotta give them credit, man. That thing will not come off. There. Pulled it out from there. Okay. Pulled it out from the ferrule, no big deal. So I dump these and I use different braid. Again, that's my preference. If you don't need to change your guide, you have, you know, you don't want the slot invasion one, then leave it. And just keep going. But I removed the spring and everything. I don't like that spring action guide. It's just me. Again, that comes in really handy for tracks like that don't have, you know, that have a little bit of like uneven areas, you know, like Carrera will have it, and that allows that guide to kind of flow with it. But since I have a wood track, I don't really have that. And the Carrera track I used to have, there were some areas that were that way, but I would still change it to the slot invasion guide, because the reason why I like the slot invasion guide, I'm going to show you. You get one right here. These are for Revo slots. Hold on a second. Alright. So you can see the thickness between the two. So my whole, you know, thing with that is that there's more stability when it goes around. I have a big fat slot, so I mean, depending how wide your slot and depending on the, you know, the track, I like the wider slot because as I come around the corners, I don't have this a lot more. I have a lot less movement with this one than I would with this one, because this one will tend to kind of like slap around, where this one's a little bit tighter because it's thicker, and it does make a difference. The length too. I prefer the length to be a little bit longer, but again, it's all in preference what you want to do. I mean, it's these are great guides. Even these are good for like scratch built cars, because you could use these because they clear the guide tongue, because the guide tongue has a round area, and if you have this bulkhead any closer, which some are closer on other cars or other models, it won't rotate around that. So this is great for that. But anyways, this is what I prefer. I do prefer the slot invasion guide. I've always liked the slot invasion guide. It's just, again, like I say, this is all preference. Doesn't mean you have to do it because I do it. You do it to what works for you. And I say that constantly because I'm the type of person that if you find something better that works for you, then that's what you use. You go for it. And I do what works for me. So it doesn't mean you have to exactly do it this way. If you want to use the stock slot invasion guide, then by all means do it. But this is what I do to have my cars to perform well on my track. And again, I have these cars for, for running them for fun. I don't really race them or send them to proxies. The only proxy I really attend is the home racing world, and that's the scratch building one. That's just me though. Bonsai, how you doing, sir? Doesn't the thicker guide slow down a car because of more friction? No, I don't think so. I mean, not that I've experienced it, to be honest. Again, like I said, I have a wider slot, Nico. The slot on my track is pretty wide. So, I mean, you got to remember also, if it's going to come around the corner, it's going to tend to move more. And that'll give you resistance too, because it'll be scrubbing, because it's being swung this way. But either way, I mean, it's just, again, like I said, it's preference. But I don't find that problem with it being that way. So here's an example. So look at this slot right here. See how much movement there is back and forth? To me, it's more stable when it comes around the corner. Now how much movement there is there. There's just a lot of movement. And I just prefer the more stable one. But again, it's my preference. It doesn't mean that, hey, I'm right, you're wrong. You could be right, Nico. It could give you more resistance you go around the corner. But, honestly, I haven't really noticed that. I know Carrera guides, they put the long ones. I haven't really seen that. But, I mean, you probably race more than I do. So maybe for you it'd be better to use the thinner guide. I mean, I don't know. It's just, again, like I said, preference. But for me, I'm more for the home racer that likes to race at home and just have fun with the cars and be able to put the car on the track and not have a difficult time with it. That's how I see it. But again, everybody is different. What's up there, Soccer Dojo? How you doing? Soccer Dojo does some awesome figures, paintings. His stuff is like really cool. Nico, fair enough. It's all good, dude. It's like I said, it's all a matter of preference. But again, I always use this guide. They're on all my cars, most of them. Some don't have it, like the McLaren I was playing with on the live yesterday. It tend to kind of like pop out of the corner easy because I know it's slapping more, and I didn't replace that guide. I used the deep wood guide that came with it. But I mean, it's just, again, it's all a preference. If it runs better, if the thin one runs better on your track, but I mean, try it out. Try the slot invasion guide, and then you do a comparison. That way, you could get your own answers to what would be better, or you could time it too. See if it does slow it down. That'd be an interesting thing to check out. I'd like to see what data you find on that. That'd be pretty cool. But big time help to keep it from deslotting onto my track. Okay, cool. So Pistol Pete, do you have, I can't remember, is your a wood track or you have a Carrera track or a Scalextric? Because I can't remember what everybody's track is. But let me know in the comments. So all I'll usually do is I'll take the front wheels off. Now I true the wheels in the front only. These are hard tires. If you have a good truer that has a good drum on it, this will take you 5 minutes to true, and you really need to true them because you could tell when you put them on the truer, you'll see all kinds of high and low spots, and then once you get them flattened out, these things are great. So that's really important. That's one critical thing that I do is I true my front tires because I just prefer it that way because it just makes things a lot easier. Yeah, the bearing came out cool. That's what I wanted to do anyway. So I'm going to remove the bearing and the axle on the other front right here. Sounds like a new content to me. Yeah, do that, dude. I'd love to see a video you do that. That'd be kind of cool. You can mention me, hey, Era 51 uses slot invasion guide. I'll try it out and we'll see what's better. If this is better for your track, the thin one or the thicker one. And that'd be a great video right there. See, that's what we need. We need content like that. people that present content like that is cool. That's what makes it, you know, you could experiment. That's the great thing about it. All that's good quality content. So Nico, I challenge you to do a video on the slot Bayesian guide versus the stock Revo guide. I don't know if you're going to use a deep one or shallow one, but that's up to you. But do that. So Crystal Pete, you use Carrera, close to getting a RTS oval. All right, cool. Carrera's good. I had Carrera for 6 years before I went to the wood one down here. So it's works good. Works good. I think it's great. So cool. It's good to hear that it's stable. So what I'll do is I'll take all these out. I'm glad the bearings came out of this. I don't know what the other bearing went. See, now all these bearings are popping out. It's a good thing I have spare parts. This is why what happens when I'm doing stuff. And you probably saw where that bearing went. I sure as hell didn't see where it went. So now I'm going to have to look for it. I didn't hear it drop out here, but I have spare bearings. And, oh no, it's still on here. Okay, it didn't fall out. I'm not paying attention, so I'll try and pop these out. If I can, I'll try it another way. Sometimes these are really tough to come out. I try not to force them, but you have to become a little bit brutal with them. The reason why I do pop these out because I want to check the pillars. Challenge accepted. All right, cool, dude. I have a car. I would think you would slide the guide around curves, and it doesn't bind. That would be great. Yeah, cool. There you go. Good point. See, this is great. I like the interaction everybody's having with me because again, I'm not no super tuner guy. I just tune the cars for my track, and that's the whole point of that. Because every track is different. So I always say this: you tune your car to the conditions of your track or the track you're going to be at, because it's not always the same. So things will be different, but cool. That's good to hear that. Some people have different opinions on, on guides and stuff. That's all good. Can test on Carrera and run a track. Cool. That'd be a good one, Nico. That'd be good content right there to try that out. So I'm going to try. If I don't break this, sometimes these are stubborn and don't want to come out. I hate when they're stubborn. I don't want to force things because that's usually what happens. You start breaking stuff. And that's really in there, so I won't do that. I'll just test it with the axle. If I could get the axle, the bearings out, I usually use this. This is like an alignment tool to check the pillars. But you could do it with the axle as well. But see, they're really in there tight. I'm not gonna just try and break it just to do that. What I usually do this is to check the alignment to make sure they're aligned, because you have the screws down here. You can move them around. But you could also check with how well the axle spins, and also if it spins nice and free, that's what you're looking for. And that looks like it does. It feels nice and easy. It doesn't feel like it's binding in one spot. But you want to make sure these pillars are aligned. And so I'm not going to pop the bearing out because I'm not going to be trying to bang it out and then destroy a bearing for no reason. But that's nice and looks nice and good right there. It doesn't look like it's an issue. And you can put the tires on there as well, and the wheels, excuse me, and spin it if you want to check it that way. I'm going to leave this without shims because I want to try it out without the shims. But then you could just, and that's fine. See, they spin nice and easy. Once you oil those up, they'll spin nice. So that's good. There's no resistance. It's nice free flowing, so it's all good. So we're okay. You don't have to do this. I just do this if I can get the bearing out, but that bearing's been stubborn. Sometimes you could push them out, they'll come out. I'm not gonna do that just to try and destroy a bearing, just to align it if it's already aligned. And it's pretty good right there, so you could do it that way as well. You don't have to get that. This stuff, see, the bearing pops out easily. This right here, they do sell it at, I think it's called an alignment tool. This you could get from Stock Car 132, or I think also Pendle Slot may have it. But believe it or not, this is from Amazon. They sell these rods. It's the same size as what they sell at Pendle and all that. And all you have to do is just clean them up, sand them down, shine them up, and then bevel the edges, because they come in hard corners because they're pieces of rod. And you get a lot of them for $8. And you could use that as the tool instead of buying the one at, so if you want to save money, I'm just going that route. That's what I did. So I'm going to leave those be. And I usually do is I check underneath here, make sure these are tight, which they are, because you know when they assemble these cars, it's sometimes things are loose, and that's fine. So I'm gonna remove is this, and I get my 8mm, and excuse me, just remove these like that, and get them out of the way. And I will put this over here. That's all out of the way. I'll put them there. Just get them away. Try not to lose these. It's easy to lose these little parts, so you kind of want a nice area to where you could put everything and get it out of the way. I have a lot of these brass nuts, extra brass nuts, for spares in case one strips or something goes wrong. It happens, you know. It's really easy to do stuff. You know, that's why I have this little thing here. This is actually, this thing is, these aren't available. This is a gift from Harry and Slot Car Corner, and this is something they had a long time ago. And Harry has one, and I mentioned it to him. Hey, that's cool. And Harry says, yeah, they only made a few of them, so they don't make it anymore. So they gave me the last one of these. So these are really cool. So sorry they're not available. I'm sorry to show you something you can't get. It's just something that was a gift, and I just, you know, use it now. So, anyways, I'm going to take all these off. And there we go. Excuse me. So they're all loose. I got this out of the way. Put this off to the side. And then I have, you know, my axle here. And then what I'll do is I'll remove the wheel because I'll check the mesh. Some of these cars have been coming pretty good with how the mesh is. I haven't really had a problem lately with mesh issues. The only one I had a problem with actually is the BMW that I mentioned. Sorry, I should have said that. So I'll take that out, and then you want to look at this. I mean, see how that is right there, that little bit of movement. I don't know if I'm gonna get closer to the camera. So see that movement right there? That's really good. That's what you want. See how much there is? You can put a piece of paper and then run a piece of paper. That's a trick Harry has done. I usually go by feel and sight, but that's just me. You do what you feel comfortable. But to me, that's pretty good, and I think that's perfect. I don't think I need to do any more to that. Then what I'll do is I'll make sure everything's tight by checking. See, that was loose. That one was loose. And what I'm going to do is remove this and check the other side. Remember, there's a little washer there. So this is the thing, you have to be careful you don't drop stuff. Okay, and I'll tighten that up. So this one was a little loose, so I tighten those up. There's a little washer right here. You gotta remember that. See, you start taking stuff apart and you don't see it. Yeah, focus. There you go. I was focusing, but you gotta remember to make sure you don't drop any of that or don't miss that stuff, because that's critical to keep your gear mesh right there. See, 1 second. 1 second here. I think I put that on backwards. What a dummy. Here we go. Excuse me. Oh, I had it on right. What am I talking about? Alright, there we go. I had it on right. Sorry. Being dumb. Oh well. So there we go. So we're good right there. And then I'll check the bottom here. Make sure these are tight. You can see somebody, the assembler that did this. And these things are really delicate because the head on these are not really deep. They're kind of shallow. That's tight. You got to be real careful. That's why I got spares. There is an alternative to these. I know some of the guys that race use them. It's from Slotting Plus. I can't remember. I just didn't get them. They're like I think they're a star, like the Ford you get for like the Thunder Slot, this type right here, and you could use that hardware to replace what you have on there. I just leave it on there because, again, I'm not racing. It's better for people who are racing because then they could adjust and not worry about stripping these heads, because these heads are super shallow. I don't know why, and you could tell these have been kind of rounded a little or just a little bit tightened up, that they got a lot of you know, got a little bit of movement because when they assembled it, they probably just kind of cranked it down. So now that I got that all set and I'm happy with my mesh, I'll put my wheel back on and better tighten my spur gear here, duh. Okay, and there we go. That's a good mesh right there. Good movement, nice and smooth. Then I'll lube this with some grease, and then I'll oil the back here and all that stuff. So stuff like that. But I want any ball cap, and he doesn't have any idea when we'll get them back in stock for Slot Car Corner. You'll have to ask Chris. You'll have to ask Steve Sawtell that. You could email them, and just ask them, hey, I was wondering when you're gonna get more ball caps, because I think they order them as you know, by demand. Because I mean, I don't know who. Maybe the people who are making the caps have, you know, maybe they've raised the price, or they just are not making any. I don't know. You'll have to ask Steve that question. But if I speak with him, I'll mention it to him, because you know I have two of them. I have one that's a little dirty, and then I got a new one, so I don't mess it up. But I'll just ask him, email him. He'll be happy to reply to you, and just tell him, hey, I want to get some hats and stuff if you got any. So anyways, so now that I've checked all that, you know, everything looks good. Again, I don't true these tires. I'm not saying you have to, or you don't have to, but I just don't, because I think my track pretty much trues them as they run down. And again, I don't use the 30 short tires because I hate them. My track hates them because they just end up tearing them up. I usually use the G25s because that's my preference. Again, it's all about preference and what works for you on your track. So here's the thing that I do that I don't know if anybody would agree that I do it or not, or should I be doing it, but I use silicone washers. Okay, this is a 0.5 silicone washers. You can get these from Slot Car Corner. What I do is I put them here where these nuts are going to be at, in between this pan and the chassis. So, and I'll show you, you know, how I do that. And I also use these on the body as well, and there's a reason why, and I'll tell you that in a bit here. So what I'll do is I'm running low here. I got some more packages upstairs. I just got to fill this up. So I just several cars, so I'll get a total of 4 right now. See how that flies off like that? Be careful, they fly all over the place. One of this little dumb spring. So I'll take 4 for now, and the 0.5 washers. And what I'll do is I will get these and put them right here in between there. Now you can use Gorilla Tape, which I have used Gorilla Tape before early on. And it's just to kind of quiet them down. And to me, I think it improves on the handling, at least for my track. Nico, you could try that out, or maybe you have a different way of you doing it. And this is what's cool, is that everybody has a different way of tuning these cars. It's not one way and that's the only way. It's different ways everybody does stuff, and that's the important part. And that's how you learn from others, because other tricks may work better than yours. But this is what I like to do. What I'll do is I'll put the pan on, and this gets a little tricky because it'll move around. So what I'll do is I'll get the little screw, put it in here, and see how it just lined up like that. So I got it right there. And I'll put this on top, right? And I'll get my screwdriver, and I'll just tighten it a little bit. I got some movement there, and then I'll get the next one and repeat the same process, and just go over the same, you know, same thing. Get the little screw. Takes a little bit of finesse and a little bit of, you know, patience, which you have to have patience. All slot cars, you need patience. Not everything works out. Trust me, I've been aggravated before by painting, tuning, and fixing things. And then what we'll do is we'll put that in there. Got that one in there, and we'll do with the back one. And what also I do is I have these little things you get from Amazon. They're kind of handy, where you could get a little screwdriver to move them around. Usually I strip the heads off these and they give you a point, and then I'm able to do this, just move it around, and then I could line it up like that. See, it's all lined up. Now I'll get the head of the screw, actually, excuse me, the head not the head, the screw. See, I got it in there, and then we'll put it right here. I'll put my thumb against it like that to kind of hold it in my finger here so they don't fall out, and then I get the screwdriver. See, I push my thumb on there, and then until it screws in like that. And then you do the same thing to the last one. Get the silicone washer, and then I'll use this thing right here. Or you could use a little screwdriver. You have a small screwdriver to line it up. And it keeps moving around. Yeah, it keeps being stubborn. Stubborn. Alright. So I'll get a screw again. Once you put the screw through there, it's pretty much got it. Up. Drop the screw. Let me move that again. Right there. Again, it takes patience. Say Rome was built in a day, so put that on there. And it takes practice. Once you do one or two of these cars, you start becoming very easy. And then you just do that. Okay, I got them on there. So there's my silicone washers. Basically, it's like an isolation. Let me get that on camera better. There you go. See how I got it in there? They're just little isolation pads. I like them. My cars run quiet. There's another trick to make them real quiet too, and I'll explain that also. But yeah, I don't know if anybody does it this way, but it's just something how I do it. And it's just my preference, you know. But again, it's all up to you. So I got those in there. I'll put my guide, you know, my braid, my guide. You know, I'll do the usual stuff. I won't get into that much. I'll true these because the truer I have upstairs. I don't have a truer down here. So I true these, and I also mic them to make sure they're the same diameter. Put them in here, all right? Get them in there. And then what I do also is depending on how your car performs. So what I do is I put weight. I know a lot of people may go, what? It's a metal chassis. Believe it or not, sometimes adding a little weight works. So I use this stuff. This is pickleball golf tape for weighting your golf club. It is super thin. Let me get that on camera closer. You see how thin it is? And that's with the paper backing. Once I peel it off, it's even thinner. And then I'll put 2 layers here. And then I'll put 2 layers on the back here to kind of calm the rear end. And believe it or not, 2 pieces of this actually goes quite a ways. It adds a little weight to it. And it does help balance the car. For me, it does. Now, I've also discovered this stuff, which is thinner, or more narrower, as I should say, not thinner. And here's some other stuff that's narrower, so you don't have to. So if you want to put some like on the edges here, you could balance the car out more, but you have to experiment. What I've learned so far is that putting weight here for me and on the back, and sometimes in the center here, it really helps the car on my track. But you have to experiment. This stuff is fairly cheap on Amazon. It's easy to cut, and then you could also press it so it conforms. So you can, you know, you can kind of like, how would you say, mash it down and it'll shape nicely. It's really easy stuff. Again, this is great stuff for even, you know, your NSR cars and stuff. You could put this underneath the chassis and it won't stick out really thick. And I'll show you what I mean. Let me get a car that I did it to. And this is what I did to this one. You can see how thin it is, right? And you could also punch holes in it too for your screws, but this is what I did to this one. And this is how I balance it. Since I don't have much room on the inside, I did it on the outside. But you could do it on the inside if you could cut away at stuff. And then you see I'm strapping tape all over. But this is why I use this stuff. I like it for that reason. Yes, let's see. You use tungsten? Yep. Tungsten's putty's fine. It's all up to you what you use. I prefer this stuff. So I think tungsten putty is a little dirty. And it gets kind of all over the place. But again, Nico, like I said, it's what works for you. I mean, if you were to try this out, and you can experiment, try it out, and tell me, hey, maybe this is better, or hey, this stuff doesn't really work that well. At least you know for yourself what works great and what doesn't, you know. But it's all good. What's up, Gary? George, what did I miss? What's up, Jeff? I'm sorry I haven't looked at the comments here. Let's see, George, what did I miss? I'm catching the video. Well, you can watch the replay, though, Gary, once it, loads up onto the YouTube page, so it'll be there on the page. I'm just going over how I tune these Revo slot cars. So this is the first Mercedes I'm tuning, but they're pretty much similar. So this is, to me, is a pretty long wheelbase car, so it's kind of like the Corvette. That's why I put weight on the back here. and weight here, and sometimes weight here, depending how the car handles. So when all said and done, what I do with the body is I use those same silicone washers, 0.5, and put them in between here, the post and the screw. And the reason why is because it gives a little isolation, and also, it's just my preference. I just like how the car handles with these. And what really makes these cars quiet and what really makes them noisy is how tight you make these screws onto your chassis. So if you tighten these down really hard on this, all this noise from this chassis is going to reverberate on this body. Now what I do is I go, obviously you don't go too far out or the screw will come out. So I think on the max of 3 turns with those washers I use, which are 0.5 silicone washers, they won't come out. Excuse me. So what I do is I loosen them two turns, and I use this to guide my, how many turns. So the pluster, I'll go 1, and I'll go 2. And then I'll feel the body that it has float along with the chassis. And then what it does is that it really quiets the car because it's not mashed down all the way against the chassis, and it's not making a bunch of racket. And the reason why is because they don't need to be that noisy. These cars should sound really smooth and really quiet if you don't really slam the body real hard onto the chassis by super tight. So if you loosen it a little, that helps. Excuse me, my throat is always having problems not being clear, so especially when I talk a lot. So with that being said, this is another thing I use. So this is low strength thread locker. Let me get it from the camera. So you get this from Amazon. Camera's trying to autofocus. This is the webcam, so it's not very exactly the perfect, but here it is right here. Low strength. If it'll focus. Looks like it's not going to. It's trying to focus. That's why it's going back and forth, because it's doing the autofocus. But I'll put it right here. So this is the Permatex low strength stuff. So what I do is, when I get my chassis set, I usually go 1 full turn out. So for example, I'll get it snug and tight. So I'm going to tighten these down like that. And again, it's all up to you on preference. So they're nice and tight, so I'll go 1 full turn like that. And on here, I'll go 1 full turn. On here, I'll go 1 full turn. Right here, I'll go 1 full turn. And then I got what I want, which is fine. That to me is enough flexibility as well on how it moves. And also, this also dictates when your front wheels touch the track too. See that movement? If you have it really high, and obviously going to be high, but you also want them not it to be super tight, because you want this to glide. For my track, this is how I have it. You want it to glide like that, and that's just what I do. And what I do after that is, hold on a second, make sure to check my text messages. What I'll do is I'll get some of this Loctite, right? I'll just get a little dab. Let me get one of these applicators. You don't have to use a lot. A little goes a long way, as they say. So say I'll put a little right here, like that. See, a little dab like that. A little dab will do you. Little purple stuff. See, a little alien jizz here. Little alien jizz locker. And then I'll just go like this. I'll put them like that because it's going to soak through. There you go. And this is low strength, so I mean it'll hold it, but it won't be so tight to where if you need to adjust it, that you're going to be stuck with, like, which blue Loctite will work as well, but it won't be like super glue, because super glue is so hard. Once you put super glue in here, it is tough, because I've done them before with the other cars, and I really didn't like having to struggle to try and take the screw, because you might strip the screw head, which usually is what gives. And then I'll do that and let it sit, but they'll also be snug in there, so if I need to adjust it, if I want, I could still move them a little. Looks like Fixodent. No, it does, doesn't it? But that's what I do. And that's just, again, my preference. And then I'll add my weight, put it together, put my body on. Let me get another card that can explain the body thing. Okay, this is the last car I just tuned from recently. So you see my silicone washers in the body, and my body has somewhat float on it. Now, some cars are different than others. See the amount of float there? So this car is super quiet. When I put this car on the track, it is real quiet. All my cars are real quiet. Even the Datsuns. The Datsuns, I'll put a thicker bushing because what happens is when this moves, you gotta remember this moves. If it hits, that's where you get the body to tire clearance issue. If that moves, to the point where it's smashing, because usually when you get the cars from the box, if this is, on the Datsuns, they're just real tight and they'll rub, and I'll usually put a silicone washer in to make it, lift the body a little, and then I loosen these a little enough to where they won't make a lot of noise and reverberate the noise. But again, this is just the way I do it. I'm not saying, hey, you have to do it this way because my way's better. No, bullshit. This is just my way of doing things. And I always emphasize that because you got to remember, you have the guys that race these things, and they do a lot of different things to these because they're trying to get speed out of them and everything. They'll put these in lighter fluid and exfoliate them and then re-oil them. I mean, I don't go that far because I'm not racing. I'm just trying to have a nice, fun, good running slot car for my track. That's my whole point about this, is that you guys could do all this. You can make the car enjoyable to drive. That's just like the poly cars. The poly cars, a lot of people were really having issues with that because, it takes a lot of finesse with those cars because they're a lot more delicate than these. These are super easy to tune because they're just made out of metal and have super small parts, but I mean, it's just easier. Now, here's another thing too. So here's another point. If you wanted to move these here, you could. Now, on the Ferrari, I did because the Ferrari wasn't really handling that well, and I moved them up here to kind of improve handling, so you could experiment. And again, it's just preference. If you want to try it on your track, that's what these extra holes are for, if you want to move these right there. And then there's other cars that have what's called a junction bar, which I did one of the Group 2 cars that has a junction bar, and I'll show you that. Yeah, and the pickleball tape cut just might look like a stick of juicy fruit gum. Yeah, no kidding. It's actually thinner than juicy fruit gum, Jeff. If you get it, try it out. You'll see what I mean. It is thinner. Let me see. Hold on a second, guys. And here's what I'm talking about. So here's where, on some of these cars, there's a junction bar here. So it's just a rod. Maybe this isn't it. Hold on a second. I got the wrong car. 1 second. Let me see, folks. One second. Here it is. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So it's this one right here. So this alpha. So you see these two right here? There's a junction bar here. Now, I've tried it. The cars with or without it. This is the only one that hasn't. I don't really notice a performance difference, to be honest. This car does handle great. A little Group 2 car, but if you see on the website like Pendle Slot, they'll have something called the junction bar, and it's just an aluminum bar that you put across here, and it's to keep it from, I guess, movement or something. I'm not really certain. It's really for high grip tracks, from what I understand, but it's it's just a bar that goes across. What's up, Mitzi? My dog. Let me see if I could find one in the package. I think I have one somewhere. I just gotta find it. I don't know if I have it down here. I have it hanging somewhere, but let's see if I don't. But you can look it up on Pendle Stop website. It's called the junction bar. And that's what it is. It's an aluminum rod that goes just like a bar that goes around here. All right, Nico, take it easy, man. Don't forget to do that video. I'm gonna keep an eye on you. Take care. But it's all in the matter of preference of what you want to do. But so in a nutshell, that's what I do with these cars, and I oil it up. I put it on the track, test it. Sometimes I'll get jackknifing a little bit, and I haven't done this, which I need to. I need to get some electrical tape, and you could put electrical tape across here to kind of, soften to make it like a shock absorber like we do with the other cars, which I haven't really done lately with any of the cars, but I need to do it because I know it may help. Because sometimes my cars will jackknife a little because they'll get a lot of grip and they'll do a little flip, but they don't de-slot. It's just that they kind of do that action. But anyways, so that's really it. Wanted to show you, and then I could also do this. So let me show you how quiet my cars are. I hope the mic that I have, hold on a second, I'm going to see about adding this mic because I moved my camera, my ZV-1 camera, to a different deal here. Let me see if I could add it on here. Dang, I don't know if I can now. I don't see anything. Let me see. Hold on a second. I'm going to go mute this real quick. Hold on. Alright, let me see. I don't know if that is the ZV-1 camera or if it's the same dang mic I have here. It looks like the same one. Let me see. Darn it. ZV-1 mic. Let me see. One section. I'm going to call up the audio input capture. Here it is. ZV-1 microphone. Okay. One second here. Alright, so can everybody hear me from here? So this is my other camera. I'm going to go to the track view, so I hope you can hear it. One second here. Using it. I got so many darn things on here now that. Okay, so can everybody hear me? I'm going to go off that mic off there, and I don't know if you could hear. So you're going to hear how quiet these cars are and what I'm talking about. So I'm going to run the alpha. A little noise, but it's not like super noisy. I could probably loosen the screws on these more to make it more quieter. And you don't want to loosen them enough to where they're going to come out of the car too, of course, it's common sense. Let me get another car. I'm going to get the quiet one that I have, which is the Datsun. And this is the ones that I was talking about, that these could be really noisy because the body is like squished down onto the chassis. And you're going to hear this car and how quiet it sounds. See how quiet that is? That's what you want. Now if I was to tighten the screws on this thing would be really loud. And that's what I think a lot of people miss, in my opinion. You don't have to have the body screws super tight. You want to give them some float. And those washers, those silicone washers, I think help a lot with these cars, at these particular ones, these Datsuns, with body to tire clearance. But it's just, again, my way on how I tune them. And they're real enjoyable to drive. See, they're not super noisy and not coming off as easy. Come around the corner nice. And see how noisy, this Alpha is a little noisier than this Datsun, or what? Noisy. but it's not as bad as it used to be. And another thing too here, and I'll show you this in a sec. So let me loosen the screws just a little bit. Let's see if we can get it a little quieter. This Dawson sounds nice as well. Yeah, I know. It sounds pretty good, doesn't it? So let me see. I'm going to go quarter turn on this. Just to alleviate the noise. And if you want, you could use that low strength Loctite on your body screws if you want. That'll work fine. It'll help. But a little bit quieter. Not as noisy. See how I loosened the screw? That was only a quarter of a turn. Doesn't sound as noisy. So the cars could be quiet. It just depends on how you do it. So watch. I'm going to tighten these all the way down. You're going to see the difference. I'm tightening them all the way down. I'm ruining my settings for you guys. So those are tight. See the difference. See what I mean? That's a lot noisier. Now I'm going to loosen them to where I had them. Which I got to remember now. So let's see. 1, 2. I'm going to go 2.5. I think I did. 1, 2.5. I'm going to do 2. 1, 2 on the fronts. 1, 2. Let's see how it sounds now. See the difference? It's a lot quieter. Yeah, it doesn't even sound like a Revo slot. That's because the body isn't slammed on the chassis hard and it's not reverberating all the noise. So that's kind of the key how I found out on my own. I mean, I'm sure somebody else knew before I did that. The jackknifing, but so that's my whole point about that, with how the body is squished onto the chassis, and that's what I do with all the cars that I have to make them quieter. So I'm going to switch mics here. Alright, so I hope that helps with what I said. Just, a brief example of what I'm talking about. But again, oops, when these are super tight on here, you're going to get all this noise going to here. When you have some silicone, washers on there, and they don't have to be real the thick ones, the 0.5s are fine. Or if you could find something else, you have something else you want to try, please tell me. Because it's always cool to see what everybody else is doing. And you could just experiment that way. But again, I love the silicone washers. That's why I use them. To me, they're great. I think it's a great little, thing to have. And just to help with the noise, because it doesn't need to be really noisy. You can make them quiet, and you can hear all those cars sound that way. They're really nice, And then also it helps when you have a bad gear. You'll know, like the BMW I did, if you saw my live yesterday, it was really terrible. And it's because the gear went bad, and it's because two of these teeth were kind of mashed up. I can't really see it on here. If I could show it on camera. Let me switch my glasses. Where did I leave them? Over here like a dummy. And, so, we're going to look at this. And let's see where I found the bad tooth. I had a bad tooth on here, and it came that way, but you know what? No big deal. I had spares. Here's the teeth right there. If you can see those two teeth, I don't know if you can, if it'll focus. Let me see if it'll focus. Come on, I don't have, well, you know what? I could probably use the other camera, but anyways, those two teeth right there in between my fingers, those two teeth are rounded out. And that's what made it noisier. So it's all about listening to the car, watching the car, and the feel of it when you're driving it with your controller. That's how I kind of dictate what's going on. But so again, this car is super quiet. All these GT1 Porsches, they could be very quiet cars. And again, I'll show you on camera again what I'm talking about. Let's drive this one around. And let me switch mics. Okay, I'll have double mics here. Okay, so you guys can hear me. Let me switch cameras. Get rid of this camera. You can find it. I'm all lost here in my. Okay, so here's how quiet this one sounds. This is the Porsche GT2, or excuse me, GT1. Still nice and quiet. That is absolutely perfect. It doesn't even sound like a Revo slot, to be honest. It sounds really quiet. Well, it sounds like a Thunder slot. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I like them nice and quiet like that. It's just a preference. Doesn't mean it's an absolute. It's just a preference. So. Anyways, so I hope that kind of helped you out with, my thoughts are on that. It's just a matter of, again, preference. What the preference is for everybody in general who, has these cars. So, but anyways, that's pretty much it. There'll be a live tonight, 8 o'clock. So I wanted to let you guys know that we're going to talk about painting, decaling. I did my NASCAR. I put my decals on this morning, and then I cleared it today. And man, that clear from SMS is fantastic. And Pat's, how you doing there, Pat? I didn't see you there, sir. Sorry about that. You're at work and listening. Appreciate that, joining in. So then what we're going to have on the live, we're going to have Dave's Shotgun Fast Lap Challenge. And we're going to get the Lambo. So Tad has sent in a Lamborghini with two 40,000K motors. So it's a dual-motored car. And he's going to do a fast lap challenge on that. And we're going to go on, do it on, obviously on Dave's track, his Revel track, and which he has been doing it, and people have been sending cars for the fast lap challenge. So that'll be really cool to have him on the live to do that on live. So, but and Danny, how you doing there? I'll be at work, George. I missed the live. No problem, man. It's all recorded. Hope you're doing good. I did send you a text message. I don't know if you got it, but anyways, but anyway, that's basically it about the car, in general, what the tuning deal is. So, I mean, I gotta flip that around because when I had it on here, I had to kind of flip it upside down so that way you could see the angle from the table. So let me see if I can correct that because I look funny upside down, don't I? And let's see. Let us see if we could take care of this. And where is it at? Here it is. Transition. Skill filtering. Where the hell are you at? I'm going to get the thing back up the other way if I could find it. No, I'm not finding it. Cool. Blending mode scaling, height and mixer transform. Here we go. Rotate. There we go. So it was. There we go. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's just something to mess around with, on the live and to check it out. And nobody's home. Hey there. How you doing? Hi, George. Can you put a link to the chat tonight for the 125 Canton NASCAR driver? You're talking about the resin file? Is what you're talking about? If that's what you mean, nobody's home. You're talking about the file for the 3D print driver? I kind of remember where I think I posted that in one of my videos, the link to it. You gotta look at the video of the interior. There is a link there for it because I don't know if I have it on this computer downstairs. I'd have to kind of, if that's what you're talking about, you gotta let me know if that's what you mean. You're talking about the resin 125th scale driver, if that's what it is. Let me see what I could do here. Alright, one sec. Let me see if I can look. See 3D driver file. Let's see what you're talking about that. Print, 1 second, print. Colts, is this it? Let me see. I don't know. Darn it. You know, I don't remember where the dang stupid thing is. I thought I saved it. Let me go down here. Oh boy. Is it Yankee? Let me see. Nope. I have to figure out which one it is, dude. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't want to print. I just buy it. Oh. Well, the only place I know where to buy it from is the place I don't like to talk about, and that's Electric Dreams. They have Rusket drivers. I'm not going to be a jerk about that, though. So you could go to Electric Dreams, and they have Rusket drivers. Rusket drivers, they have the 125th body and the head. So all you have to do is go to their website and type in driver figure, and it should pop up. The head and the torso are separate. They're Rusket repops. You could do that. That, I don't know where to... You know, you could look at it at Electric Dreams. It'll be there if you need it. So, but I thought you wanted a 3D file. I'm sorry, but yeah, just go to Electric Dreams and they'll have it there. So if you need a driver, all right. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Let me see. I'm looking through the comments because I was talking a lot, not looking at stuff. So Nico's going to do a test on the guides. Should be an interesting video. It'll be good content there. But cool. All right. Well, so remember we'll have the live at 8 tonight. Yeah, no problem, man. Just go there and you'll find it. I'm sorry. I can't. I don't. It's just a preference. I can't really get into it. But anyways, you should be able to find it there. If they don't have any, let me know, because again, I have a resin printer coming, but it won't be here till the end of the month or the mid-month because it's the new Saturn IV Ultra, and they're all still on pre-order, so they haven't sent anything out yet. So I'm really looking forward to getting that, and I will definitely print driver figures, and that'd be no problem to, have some extras lying around. So that depends also if you want a tray one, or because the one that they sell at Electric, those Rusket ones, are tray drivers. So a tray driver is one that uses like a flat tray. It's not a full interior driver, so it's not a full figure. Is that what you'd say? It's not a full figure driver. So screwdriver over here. The track. So that's what they'll. I don't need that. That's what they'll have there. Fun, you have tools all over the place. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about what I did, or have any ideas if they could do it better. Please let me know. I'm always about better ideas. So, all right. So Area 51 is going to Saturn. Yeah, at least I'm not going to Uranus. No, I'm just kidding. You set yourself up for that one, Jeff. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist that one. All in good fun. So cool. Well, Jeff, I hope you're enjoying that car, man. I'm glad you took it to a wood track and it ran great. That's cool. That's awesome to hear that it did real well. Which it's good. I feel relieved, like anyone you to get a piece of crap not at work on your track. But good. It's good to hear that you ran it. You told me that last week. So, but yeah, good live, guys. Just again, like I said, it's just showing you what I do with these cars. You don't have to do it this way, but it's just one way of doing it. I'm sure other people have different opinions or ways of doing things, and there's nothing wrong with that, because being different is great. Because if we were all the same and we all did the same thing, it'd be a real boring hobby. So it's good that everybody does things differently and different approaches to building cars, or scratch building or tuning cars and all that stuff. It's all good content that we need for the hobby, for all kinds of stuff. Oh yeah, my buddy who has a wood track. Yes, very nice. Thanks for cool. Good. Yeah.
that's great, man. It's great that it did well. And you know those raffle cars, I'm glad they went to some people that I know. I know there's one that went to somebody that I don't know too well, so hopefully they'll enjoy it. You know, who knows? But it's nice to see that the people that do come around a lot to the lives and to, you know, Harry stuff, that some of them did get the cars, which was cool. And again, next year, you never know. There may be some NASCARs up for raffle too that I built, because I'm building 4 of them. I'm only entering 1, but I'm building 4 just to use as example so people can see, you know, how you could do different ones. So this way, but before the race comes in winter, you can see the 4 different, you know, methods of them. So one will have hand, you know, scratch built chassis, another will be H&R chassis, which I intend on doing. So it's it's cool because remember 1/24th kits, you could use those, and there's the H&R chassis, which is excellent for that. If you don't want to worry about building a chassis, just pop one of those under there and you're good to go. And I did one of those with the Lamb barges, which is the Junior Johnston Pontiac, and then the scratch built, you know, Impala went to Greg Hazel, which he's enjoying it, which is cool. Oddly enough, he had the same livery, but it was blue. So in the same car too as an Impala, so it was kind of cool that that worked out that way. So you know, all good. All right. So all right, guys, I'm gonna sign off. I hope you had fun with this. It was just something I thought of doing off the because it was the last Revo slot car. I'll probably finish this up later. But they'll be a live tonight at 8 p.m. at Monday nights at Area 51, and we'll talk about all that stuff and have Dave's Fast Lap Challenge on as well. And we'll talk about painting, decals, and the race, you know, for the winter. And then the new cars are coming out, which, oh my God, the Marcos are coming out soon. And then those things are, I made room in my case. I kicked some cars upstairs and made room in the case for more Revos. So I'm kind of Revo crazy now. But anyways, so that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the live. And like I always say, you take care and have